Up them poles on them, birdie.
Yo! What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the second episode of the Pop Report with me and Alex. Alex, you want to try talking, see if the people can hear you?
Yeah, testing. Comment if you can hear me okay. Let me know how laggy it is. I'm sure it's not great, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, let us know if you can hear us, guys. Just testing out audio. Everyone, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the podcast, this little live podcast. If you're here, you're either here to hear us talk about sports cards, or you're maybe here to win the free DONRUSS basketball fat pack, which is very possible. If we get 15 viewers in the chat at once, or in the stream at once, then we'll go ahead with the giveaway. Right now we have 10 watching according to my stream. Can everybody hear okay? Let's see some comments. Maybe my thing is a little behind, but can everybody hear okay? Yeah, sorry, just checking my... Let us know in the comments if you could hear okay before we get started. Yeah.
We're good. I think we can assume that we're good.
Are we good? Okay. All right. We're just going to go ahead and assume. All right. Sounds good. Okay, cool. So yeah, this is the second episode. It's basically me and my brother, Alex. We just talk about sports cards and just kind of chill and just kind of have some segments, some topics, and I would like to shout out some people in the chat. Shout out Larry, welcome back. He was the winner of last week's giveaway. I shipped out his winnings, and so yeah, we got Nicholas, who I recognize from last week's chat. Grant, what's good? Adrian, thank you, Adrian. I appreciate that. But yeah, so we're just gonna go ahead and get started with this podcast and start talking, and then by the end, maybe we'll give away some Donruss. We'll see. But yeah, Alex, do you have anything to say to the people before we get started?
Not much to add. Looking forward to episode 2 of this podcast. We've got some great stuff in store. But yeah, let's get started.
Yeah. All right. So first, we're just going to talk about the general state of the card hobby. And we're going to be talking about, the name of this segment is, are cards becoming too mainstream? Recently, Topps, which is the baseball card, known to be the baseball card company, they went public, or like they now trade on the stock exchange. Alex, what do you know about that?
Yeah, so basically they got bought out or basically merged with a company that's actually already public. I don't know the name of the company, but it's something that's already trading on the stock market with the ticker symbol MUDS, M-U-D-S. And so ever since they merged with Topps, their stock price has gone up in anticipation of that Topps purchase. And their future plan is to change the ticker symbol of their stock to be TOP, to represent Topps. So basically, Topps went public. So it's kind of a little bit different because they merged with the company that was already public. Mm-hmm. But they went public, which means that they're going to get the money that comes along with becoming a public company, but then also obligations for trying to return profits to shareholders as well. But yeah, that's kind of what happened. How it affects the card market is kind of up for discussion and to be determined. Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think that that's going to affect the card market positively or negatively?
Like I kind of feel like they're going to try to get the most, obviously they're going to try to get the most money out of like Topps, you know? And so as a result, maybe we'll see like overproduction. I'll talk a little bit about that later, where like we get way too many cards, but that happened in like the 1980s, where it's called like the junk wax era, where there was like way too many cards, and then people just stopped caring altogether because there were so many to keep track of. And I feel like hopefully they've learned their lesson, because I mean I think they were part of that in the 1980s. Hopefully they have a business model to like avoid that, is what I'm kind of thinking. Something that I thought was kind of interesting, I'm not sure where I heard this, maybe it was another podcast or something, but 35% of Topps' business is like candy sales, because they have Bazooka bubblegum, I think it's called, and like some other like candies or something, which is just kind of funny to think that like, or maybe it was more than 35, I don't know, but a big chunk of like what we consider the top baseball card brand is like candy sales. I just thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I think that just goes back to like the legacy, like back in the day, like gum and baseball cards were like connected, right? Yeah. You like would open a pack of baseball cards and there would be a stick of gum at the end.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, those were connected, and that's kind of like been their legacy. But yeah, I would say definitely that's like kind of the risk side of it, is because they're now a public company, them making more decisions to make more money. And obviously the way that the card company like Topps makes money is by making more cards. And since they're in such high demand right now, there's a risk that they'll kind of produce to meet that demand, develop that money, make money for their shareholders, which could drive the prices of current cards out there down, or cause another junk wax era as well. But I honestly don't think that this decision was really made with just physical cards in mind. I really think that the NFT part and future of Topps had a big part in why they decided to go public. to try to take advantage of the additional hype that's going to come along with their start into the NFT market. And so I think they're making a big bet on that being like a big thing later down the road.
Yeah.
Which, they'll need money to get off the ground. Becoming a public company definitely helps with that. But I think they're more so looking at the potential of Topps when it comes to its licenses with baseball, the NFT future, rather than their history of, being also a bubblegum company and whatever else it is.
Yeah. Yeah, the NFT thing is kind of interesting because personally, I don't really care too much for NFTs, or like I don't really understand it. I mean, to some extent I do, but with Topps, from what I've seen, is like the NFTs that they have. It's kind of just like a virtual version of their card, like, right? Have you seen them?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's like kind of like its own little, basically like an app.
Yeah.
Where it has, you can easily buy and trade the NFTs of these players. Yeah. And the NFTs are just, like you were saying, a picture or a virtual, stamp or whatever of the 2021 Top Series 1 card. So it's basically like putting the card online, attaching an NFT to it, and then providing a marketplace for you to be able to easily like buy and sell. So I saw kind of somebody like running through what it was going to look like, and it looked honestly pretty cool. If you're spending a lot of time on the computer, it's a cool interactive way to keep track of, the price of a card, easily sell it, etc. Look at your collection, etc. But it's definitely not quite the same as having a physical card. So we'll see kind of how it all takes off.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea of Top Shot a little bit better because it's something like completely different than like it's a little video clip and stuff, like they have it all packaged up nicely, like virtually, obviously. But Topps, I don't really like how it's just kind of like so similar to the card aspect of it. At least like from what I've seen, it just looks so like, I don't know. But yeah, so that's one of the things. What was that?
Yeah, I was definitely saying like it might be a little bit of a different market that they're going for. I feel like Topps is going for the card people, etc. And then NFT is, Top Shot was more so going. I feel like it's not just the people that were collecting cards. It's like NBA fans, and then NFT collectors in general. Where I think Topps is really trying to target, really like people like us that are interested in cards and trying to transition us into kind of NFT and being more comfortable with doing buying and selling of stuff with those online products.
Totally. Kind of segueing into this like cards becoming so like popular and mainstream. Should I talk a little bit about like the overproduction of cards right now? So basically, a lot of one concern that a lot of people have when talking about like modern sports cards is that they're gonna go down in value because there's so many produced, and we can definitely see that with like when we go to Target or something, you see so much like Topps 2021 Series 1 on the shelf, and it's just like you kind of wonder how much is actually like being produced of this stuff, and if there's a million of the good rookie card, how valuable is the rookie card actually? You know what I mean? And so I was doing some research, and I thought it was just kind of interesting to see how much the production has increased, especially recently. So, for example, if we go to 2017, which was before like cards became super uber popular. I mean, they were popular, but mainstream. We look at like the best rookie from that class, which I would say is probably Jason Tatum. We're talking NBA now, which I would say is probably Jason Tatum. And a PSA 10 of his rookie Prism, there's 9,000 of them, which kind of sounds like a lot. And it is a lot compared to like some other cards, but there's 9,000 Jason Tatum rookie Prisms. And then if you go to the next year, Luka, just the next year, cards were starting to get really, really popular. There's 29, or yeah, okay, yeah. There's 29,000 graded Luka cards total. And Jason Tatum, I meant there was 9,000 graded Jason Tatums. There's 29,000 graded Lukas, according to my research, according to my little research. And then Zion, there's 30,000 graded Zions. So do you think that, and then this translates also to baseball, not even like that old of a rookie, but like Juan Soto, his rookie card, there's 1,500 of them of his top's basic rookie card, and Bo Bichette, there's 13,000 basic base Bo Bichettes. Do you think that this will like really have a negative effect on the value of these rookie cards going forward, and then maybe just negatively affect card prices as a whole in the future? Because it's something that I'm kind of worried about, honestly.
Yeah, so I would say, I mean, it's not like an instant death sentence for a card to have a high population count, because if there's truly, if there is enough demand out there for it, even if there's a million of them out there, it's going to be worth something. But what I would say is it would definitely cap or like kind of stop like the top end, the highest potential for those cards.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with that many out there, there's no way it's going to reach the same heights of some of those cards that we're seeing, $1 million sales of, 10, 20s of years down the road, because there's so many of them out there. There might always be a market for that card, so I wouldn't say that, just because there's a lot out there, you should sell and get out because it's going to go down in value. I don't think that's true, but I would say the ones or the rookies that have more produce probably, when all is said and done, will be worth a little bit less than an equal rookie or an equal performing, athlete that has a lower population count. So I would say it hurts the long-term potential for the growth of, a card's value, but it doesn't mean that it's not worth investing in or adding to your collection.
Yeah, I think if anything, it also shows like that you should be going at, or it's going to increase kind of the demand for like the numbered variations of cards, because then specifically that there's not too many of this card, and I think we'll probably see that in the future potentially.
Right. And I'll add a couple things too, because I feel like there's also the potential is there still for popularity for cards to continue to increase, because even though it sounds like having 30,000 plus Zions out there is a lot, I'd be curious to look at how many NBA fans there are out there, right? And if more and more of a percentage of these people converted to fans, Zion's going to be one of the first cards that any fan would look to go into. Yeah. So there still could be growth on the demand side for the market as well. So that's to look out for.
Yeah, totally. So that's what I have for talking about like the population. We got some comments. Nicholas says, shout out to Nicholas. He's in the chat a lot, and he always makes some good comments. I think becoming more mainstream can help the hobby because that can fuel demand, especially long term, like we talked about last week, but agree that they have to be careful with overproduction versus demand. I totally agree. Great point.
I would agree.
Then
I'll add another thing too, because one of the other things that I'm noticing is that there's becoming so many more different platforms for trading cards, buying small shares of cards. I'm starting to see articles about cards on ESPN, CNN, all the different places there. So I think that just shows that it's still kind of the tip of the iceberg for where knowledge and popularity for the card market can get to.
Totally. We have another comment said, I believe it's going to peak at some point and drop off over time, which is possible, and we have seen that in the past. But I was talking to Alex about this recently, and even if it drops off, who's to say that it doesn't pick up again soon after? Um, which is definitely worth considering. But that's a really good point, and
Yeah,
to an extent, I can feel that.
yeah.
Um,
I feel like after the what we would call now like the wax era, when we were seeing um, kind of prices start to go down, people were having the conversation, saying, "Oh, we're at a peak. It's going to go down." And in the short term, those people would have been right,
mhm.
right? But then, those same people, if they would have held on until now, when we've seen this resurgence, 10, 20 years later, they'd be sitting pretty. So
Totally,
depends what kind of a time horizon we're talking about.
totally. Um, Nicholas said the concept of population could become an issue because more people than ever are sending cards straight to grade and are more careful in general, so less cards are likely to be destroyed, which makes them less rare. Yeah, that's so true because now that so many cards are going to be graded, they'll be preserved for a long period of time. Whereas some of the older, more vintage cards, it's like something really special when they're in perfect condition because most people didn't preserve those cards. So that's definitely something interesting. I've thought about that for sure as well. It's going to be interesting now that PSA is closed, how that affects cards in like the short term. Because the only way you can get a card PSA graded now, it costs $300, and so what does that do to cards that are like lower end cards that are already graded? So that's kind of a conversation too. But yeah, anything else you want to add to this general intro topic talking about cards becoming kind of mainstream and stuff like that?
Um, I would just also say, and maybe you're already planning on talking about this, but I feel like part of the way that tops or can start to kind of do both things where they're selling a lot of cards but still keeping scarcity
Mm-hmm.
in the market is by having different levels of releases. And I
True.
feel like Tops is actually already starting to do a decent job
Mm-hmm.
of kind of doing that. I mean, arguably, if we can talk a little bit about some of those like lower end Tops products,
Yeah.
I think that's again another long term solution for those companies to make a lot of money in the short term by selling a lot of product to new customers, target being really busy, etc. But if they maybe have the low end stuff that gets released a lot, and then the high end stuff that is a little bit more scarce for collectors, etc.
Yeah.
That could be a way to do both
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah. Totally. And with Tops, that would be like opening day. I know you have some of that. And then for Panini, I feel like could try to make some of their lower end brands like more readily available, like Hoops, which was considered like a cheap, mainstream, lower end basketball card. It's sold out really like it was still impossible to find. So maybe if something like that was like more easily attainable, they could keep Prism like limited and like people would still be happy. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, like I'm actually really curious to see what they do for Prism this year, because obviously Prism is like the demand for Prism is so high,
Yeah.
probably the highest of all the basketball releases. So you would think they would make the most of Prism because the demand is so high and they could make a ton of money.
Yeah.
But if they were smart, they would have release more Donruss, release more NBA hoops, and keep the count of Prism comparable to previous years. Because make their money off of selling some of those lower end products, but keep the scarcity of Prism so that when we're comparing a PSA 10 of a 2020-2021 rookie to a 2016-2017 rookie, we can be having like a apples to apples discussion.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Facts. Um, Mr. Optimistic said mainstream will help collectors gain more, especially for graded cards. Yeah, as cards become more popular, at least right now, I could totally see that. Um, should we head on to our next segment? What do you think?
Let's do it.
All right. So that was a little intro segment. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, where we kind of just talk about our cards becoming too mainstream. So the next segment that we have, we're calling it, or actually we don't really have a name, like To the Moon or something. But we're just going to be taking a look at some cards that have just gone up a lot recently, and we're not saying that they're going to continue to go up. We're just think that they're kind of fun to note, take a look at, and we're going to start with a couple baseball, and then we got a basketball. First, we'll start with from the Angels, Otani. That's how you say his name, right?
Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah. From what I understand, he's like a pitcher and a hitter. Alex is the one that knows baseball, but I just thought it was interesting because his cards have really spiked recently. Alex, can you explain? I'll go over some of the prices in a bit, but can you explain like why his cards are going up and his performance?
Definitely. So Shohei Ohtani. So first of all, he is young stud from Japan. He's honestly he's huge. He's like kind of looks like a giant out there on the field. And one of the reasons that he was so hyped coming over from Japan is because he was going to pitch, and he's an elite pitcher that throws around 100 miles per hour and also hit as a DH. So he can also, hit absolute bombs as well. So he's kind of, a rare dual skill player. Really no player has done both hitting and pitching at as high a level as he is able to since, the legends of Babe Ruth back in the day. So that's part of the reason why he's so hyped, and he was so hyped when he came over from Japan. However, since he came over, his first 2 years have been kind of riddled with injury, and people have kind of become skeptical about, is it possible to pitch and hit at such a high level? It might be too much stress on the body. Baseball, there's 162 games in the season. That's a lot to be a pitcher and a hitter, etc. So a lot of people were kind of down on that.
Mm-hmm.
And recently, kind of starting in spring training and really manifesting in his one and only start of this year so far, it looks like he's healthy, and he's been on track to do both things, hit and pitch, this year at a high level. So one of the big headlines was that in the same inning, he threw a pitch over 100 miles per hour and then hit a home run with over 100 miles per hour off the bat, just showing his raw skill on both sides of the field. And experts are looking at him and saying, if he stays healthy, that's going to be an unprecedented, stat line by the end of the year to have, 40, 50 home runs, and then also to pitch a few games, get some wins, etc. That would be kind of amazing. So right now, optimism on that is really high because he's been looking really good. He's healthy. And if he were able to get through the season and do what he's doing, it would be kind of historic. So he's off to a good start, which is why we're seeing his price, which was coming into the season for spring training, honestly really low, just because of all the problems he had with injury. But since, he's starting to prove his health and show his skills on the field, that momentum has been kind of building, and that's why I think we've seen his card price start to go up so much.
Yeah. Let me ask you, how are the Angels, he's on the Angels, right? Yeah. How are the Angels, are they doing good this season, or?
So they're actually off to a pretty good start. I don't know their exact record, but I think it's a winning record. So they're off to a good start, and it looks like they have a chance to make the playoffs this year, which is good. They haven't made the playoffs in a couple of years. They're definitely not one of the premier teams in baseball, not a top 2 or 3, 4 team.
Yeah.
They have a good chance to make the playoffs, and people want them to make the playoffs because they have such good star power with Ohtani and Trout, obviously, as who people want to see in the playoffs.
Yeah. I just want to preface this saying, I told you, I don't even watch baseball, but just from following cards, I told you maybe a month ago that the Angels were going to make the playoffs this year, and you laughed in my face.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge Angels fan. I'm a Dodgers fan, so I'm on the other side of the freeway,
Cool.
as they say. But yeah, so I was probably a little bit biased, but it looks like they have a good chance to make the playoffs.
Okay.
But Angels are one of those teams that frequently disappoint,
Okay.
and a long season to go, so we'll see.
Okay. For him, price-wise, 1 month ago, this card, like his main rookie card from Topps, a PSA 10 was going for about $60, and now it's going for about $130 from. Let me just double check here. Yeah, now it's going for about $130. So it was going for $60 a month ago. So that's over double. It was just like a week ago at like 170. It sold at 170. So right now it's just really high. And like you mentioned, like what do you think is the future for this? Like, just do you think his performance is gonna? What do you think?
This is a tough one because this is definitely like dependent on his health. Really, is kind of like the biggest thing that I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And if he could get through like a whole season doing what he's doing, I do think that the price could even continue to go up from where they're at. But honestly, we're already starting to see like he's not pitching on a regular basis. They're like slowing down his pitching schedule.
Yeah.
To curve his arm a little bit. So I'm just not sure how realistic it is to believe that he's going to be able to sustain it for a full year,
Mm-hmm.
and even less to think that he's going to be able to sustain it for 4 or 5 years, 6 years, whatever it takes to become like a bona fide superstar.
Yeah.
So I think it's still super high risk, but if he can stay healthy,
Yeah.
he is a kind of like a unicorn type of player. There's no one else doing what he does.
Yeah. All right, guys. Before we talk about the next player, spam some fire emojis in the chat. Get the activity going so that if we get 15 viewers at once, we can give away that DONRUSS pack. But yeah, so just try to ask questions if you have any questions. We'll do a little Q&A segment at the end of this whole stream. But yeah, giving away DONRUSS basketball at the end of the stream if we hit 15 viewers at once. So just be active in the chat and ask some questions if you have any. And we appreciate you joining us today. The next player that we're going to be talking about is another baseball guy. Here we go. Alex, you want to talk a little bit about JD?
Definitely. So, JD Martinez, for those of you who don't know, is kind of like a veteran. He's probably mid to low 30s as far as age goes, and he's had some really good seasons. He's like a major power hitter. Yeah, let's go DONRUSS basketball.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was over in the Dodgers division for a while, so I got to watch him play a lot when he was playing against the Dodgers. And one thing about JD Martinez is he hits his home runs in spurts. Like, he's definitely had a game, I think, against the Dodgers where he hit 4 home runs in one game, which is like crazy. That's like every at bat pretty much hitting a home run. And he recently got hyped up again. He's on the Red Sox now, who are a big market team who are in first place in their division and starting to do pretty well. They get a lot of TV time, etc. So Boston gets a lot of hype, but in a recent game, he hit 3 home runs in a game. So now he's up to, I believe, 5 home runs for the season. So he's right up there near the top of the list as far as home runs so far. And I feel like people had kind of been sleeping on him a little bit because last year during the short 2020 season, he had a down year. It was like the only, if you were to look at his stat line over the years, last year was pretty much his worst year in the last 7 or 8 years. So people were kind of sleeping on him. He wasn't getting a lot of hype. There's other players in Boston that people were looking at, etc. And then since the beginning of the season, he started off really well, had that big game. Remembered how good of a hitter he was, and it looks like his price of his baseball card correlates with that.
Yeah. According to the eBay sales that I was able to find, I think uh, the sale on the top, it's for $60, and I actually think I can't really read it, but I think it was just a week ago, or a couple weeks ago, very recently, and then just the other day or today, I'm not sure, it sold for $160. So that's $100 increase. Of a pretty old player, like a pretty old card. It's from 2011 Topps, which I think is the same year Mike Trout is in, 2011 Topps. So I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, JD Martinez.
Yeah, he's totally one of those players that got headlines about him having that 3 home run game.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, I forgot about how good JD Martinez is. Oh,
Yeah.
he's on the Red Sox. Oh man, they're stacked.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were kind of having that realization.
Yeah.
And that's why we saw some quite high sales.
Totally. So keep an eye out, folks, for him. And we'll get into our third player, which is going to be a basketball player. Let's see if I have a picture here. Oh, sorry. Okay, here we go. Which is Miles Bridges from the Hornets. He's honestly not a player that I'm too excited about or anything. He's just I've always thought of him kind of as a middle of the road sort of player, but he's had some good recent games. A month ago, his Silver Prism 10 was going for $100, and now it's going for $210. The most recent sale. He's a small forward, power forward type player for the Hornets. This season, he's averaging 27 minutes, but just in these last couple games, he's got 37, 36, 41 minutes, and he's averaging 7 rebounds, 18 points, which is pretty good stats he's a third-year player. He's the same rookie year as Luka and Trae Young. And the Hornets are having a decent season. They're 8th overall in the conference, and so it looks like they'll make the play-in tournament. It's possible that if they keep winning, they could maybe make the playoffs, but it looks like the play-in tournament. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he had a crazy dunk recently, which maybe is a reason that his cards have been going up. As you can see from the graph, his cards aren't going up an insane amount, and that's just because I think NBA cards in general right now are a little bit stagnant. Even players that are playing really well, their card prices aren't moving quite as much as they once did. We have the playoffs coming up, so hopefully that hype can kind of change that aspect of the card market. Basketball is still probably the most expensive out of the 3 sports, just because it's popular worldwide. It's just a really big sport and it's growing. Alex, you got any thoughts about Miles Bridges?
Yeah, so first of all, your thoughts on the NBA in general. So I think, it's interesting that this was one of the only players whose prices have actually been going up over recent times. If you're looking at who's leading the league in points, Bradley Beal, his price is going down, etc. So it was hard to find anybody whose price was going up. But with Miles, I feel like it might be a classic case of, he's just getting a lot more touches and a lot more reps because of injuries on his team. So LaMelo and or Gordon Hayward are out, right? So those are the 2 main ball handlers, playmakers, etc. on the team. So I'm guessing as soon as those 2 players went out, he's been able to get a lot more touches.
Yeah.
Credit to him. He's done a good job with it, and he's putting up good numbers. And I think you're right. Part of it is from the big dunk highlight that was going around for him. I feel like those spiked popularity a little bit there.
Yeah.
So I'm still, would question, if he was on a fully, robust Hornets team, if he would be, having the same impact that he is now.
Yeah.
Or if it's kind of one of those cases where, he's a professional player and somebody's got to score the points on this team.
Yeah.
Miles Bridges, here you go.
Yeah.
But but yeah, so I'm still a little bit, skeptical, seeing somebody just start doing well now when people around him become injured.
Yeah.
But, good to see him for picking up, when those guys are out.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Basketball cards, they got really popular like before the season started and as it was just starting. And we saw that recently with like MLB cards too, or baseball cards as well. But basketball cards, like as the season kind of has gone, they've kind of stagnated and dropped a little bit. Do you think like the popularity of baseball cards? When do you think the popularity of baseball cards for this season will kind of stagnate a bit, or do you think we'll see that? Or because baseball, it's a way longer season too, huh?
Yeah. So I feel like it's going to kind of happen in phases. I feel like we already saw a ramp up, like kind of like during spring training leading up to opening day.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've kind of already seen a slight kind of stagnation since that point in time, except for the players that have kind of shown to be better than expected.
The
right?
surprise
So I feel like
players, yeah.
Right. So I feel like the first couple weeks of the season kind of show, who actually is good, who, is going to be, top players this season, etc.
Yeah.
But I feel like there will reach a point, probably around the All-Star break, maybe after the All-Star break, where we kind of establish, who the good players for the season are going to be, who the good teams for the season are going to be. And I would say even probably the good players at that point in time might reach that same, level of stagnation.
Yeah.
And I would say that looking back at the NBA, that's kind of what happened with the NBA as well, with a huge ramp up leading up to the season, a lot of hype early in the season, kind of, the player, this rookie is surprisingly good, or this, is having a good second year, etc. And a lot of that hype continued till about the All-Star break. And then since that point in time, we kind of already know who the good players are for the season.
Yeah.
There's other sports starting that I can start looking at, like baseball.
Yeah.
So we'll see how baseball plays out, but I would think it would follow a similar trend, and I would use that kind of mid-season All-Star break as a potential, time period to look at for what we might see even, the best players start to stagnate a little bit.
Yeah. It's interesting because football it's not even in season right now, but the cards are like the cards in the football boxes are kind of still going up, which is kind of surprising because I thought they would at the end of the season, like by the end of the season, it would just kind of like drop and like we just have to wait until the next season. But from what I've seen, like football, the cards haven't like dropped too much. I know I have some like football boxes right now. Let me get one of them. Like we have this Contenders mega box, and during the season, like during I think maybe it was the playoffs or something, it was going for about 70, and now it's still going up, and it's like 110 or something. It's just kind of weird because I thought football would be going down right now. So that's kind of something that I thought was interesting.
I think, and this is also kind of true with the NBA as well. I think as popular as the season is and watching the games, one of the biggest draws is the off-season chatter about like trades and signings and the draft, etc. So I feel like the NBA also did well during that time if we were to look back on it as well. But we're kind of entering that phase for the NFL where seeing a lot of people start to sign with different teams, little trades, a lot of talk about the draft, with Lawrence and Fields, etc. So I feel like even though the season isn't in full swing, kind of the trade talk and the buzz is really starting with football. So, I'm not too surprised to see that, at least at this point in time, it's starting to do well. I would actually expect that to continue as we start to ramp up to the season, which we still have a few months to go. But football has a lot of fans. Like NBA is, like you were saying, is huge internationally, but in the U.S., the NFL has a ton of fans, and if those people start to get into sports cards at the same rate NBA fans are, I would see that. I could see that showing up in card prices.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's what we have for this segment. Those are the cards that we thought were highlighting. In the chat, let me know if you've noticed any cards that have been going up or that you think will go up. And also in the chat, let us know which kind of cards you like to collect best. Is it football? Is it basketball? Is it baseball? Or a little bit of all three? And the next segment is we're going to be doing a tier list. Alex, you cool if we jump into that now, or do you have any other thoughts you want to add to these cards going up?
Let's do the tier list.
All right. We got 12 viewers in the chat, so we're almost at 15, guys. Just keep or send the link to your friends or something and help us get to 15. We're pretty close, and then if we do, we'll give away some DONRUSS basketball. All right, so next we got a tier list. Before we begin the tier list, I want everyone in the chat, or I mean not everyone, if you want to, in the chat, also tell me your favorite Prism card that you've ever seen. Prism basketball, Prism football, either Prism, even baseball, I don't know. But yeah, just let me know your favorite Prism card, because on this tier list, we're going to be discussing each year of Prism, and which is, it started in 2012, and now we're in 2021, and we're just going to rank them in the tier list based on the rookie class and the card design as well. So yeah, in the chat, let me know what your favorite Prism is as we get started with this tier list. First, we'll start the new LeBron Prism. Yeah, true. First, we'll start with 2012, which my picture of is not really showing right now. Here, hold up, guys. I'm going to put the intro screen up. Let me know in the comment section your favorite Prism while I just get this set up. Sorry guys, I seem to be having some technical difficulties to where the pictures are not showing. So I will just show the picture. Okay. That one showed. Spam some fire emojis for the technical difficulties. Let's see. Okay, whatever. Should we just do Q&A now since this is not working?
Sure, up to you.
Wait, let me see if I could. Sorry guys, bear with me. I apologize for this little technical difficulties. Alright. So we will do this instead. Alright. Okay. On the screen, you should see. Okay, we'll just do this. 2012 Prism. Okay, so we'll start with 2012 and then we'll go all the way to 2020. And 2012 Prism, as you can see pictured, is the LeBron. It's the first year of Prism. And it's one of the most coveted and sought afters because it's the first year. Like, if a player, like, along with the rookie card, a player's first Prism is like really popular. Like LeBron's first Prism. This one you see on the screen here is $2,000 because it's LeBron's first Prism. His second year was only $280. And they just did on this year's Prism, they did like a reference to this one. The rookie class for the 2012 Prism includes the likes of Anthony Davis, Bradley Beal, and Damian Lillard. And then some of the other cards, like people consider it Kyrie's rookie year card, even though it's a second year. Kawhi's rookie, even though it's kind of his second year. But it's just really special because it's the first year. Alex, what do you think of 2012 Prism, design-wise, and like with the rookie class of Anthony Davis, Damian Lillard?
Yeah. So honestly, like pretty fire overall. I would say I definitely like the visual design. I feel like when I like think Prism, like that's kind of the look that I think with like the metallic outer border,
Yeah.
etc. And then to have a pretty good rookie class to go along with it, and then like you were saying, the fact that it's kind of considered, everybody's first Prism is
Yeah.
something valuable. So I think that makes it especially special.
Yeah.
I'm high on 2012. I'm glad that they did tribute in this year's.
Yeah.
I'm excited to opening some of that and seeing some cards that look similar to the original 2012.
I'm thinking S tier for first year 2012 Prism. What do you think?
I think so because, I mean, that's what launched probably the Prism brand, which is the biggest brand in basketball, or really in sports collecting overall. So, that's the OG.
All right, so we're putting 2012 Prism in the S tier. Now we will go to 2013, which should be on your screen very shortly, guys. Okay, 2013. It's like a slanted kind of design. I have LeBron for all of these just because it's like the main player, obviously. 2013, the rookie class wasn't too crazy besides Giannis and his rookie Prism, obviously a huge deal because he's one of the best players in the NBA. But I'm thinking for 2013 Prism B tier, or what do you think? What do you think of the design?
I like the design on this one. I would definitely not rate it quite as highly as the original 2012 design. I don't like the text part as much.
Yeah.
Looks like very like flattened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely overall pretty nice. So I'm with what you were gonna say as far as tier goes.
I'm gonna put it B tier actually. I'm gonna put it B tier. Because Giannis is a good rookie, and blah blah blah. All right, next we'll go to 2014 Prism. Let me know in the comment section or the chat what year is your favorite so far. This one is way different because it's kind of like a zoomed up close photo of the player. 2014 Prism, the rookie class is also kind of weak. The best rookie, I mean, he's good, Joel Embiid. And then there's Zach LaVine. Other than that, I don't think there's anybody else major. I may be missing like Julius Randle or something. I don't know. But because of the weaker rookie class, where Zach LaVine and Embiid are like the highlights, I'm going to put it C tier. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like also just from a visual standpoint, it's my third favorite of the three that we've looked at so far.
Yeah.
It looks the most kind of like a normal non-prism card of the three that we looked at.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to go C tier for this one. I don't hate it, but the fact that it's like not as good as the others and the rookie class is not as strong. All right, let's go into 2015. Prism, which we have. Here's what it looks like. Pretty sick in my opinion. The rookies in this one are Devin Booker and Jokic, which is a pretty strong rookie class. What do you think of that rookie? Like, what do you think of those guys?
Interesting that you say that that's a stronger rookie class than Embiid's rookie class, but it's all up.
But I think Booker's pretty good too.
He is, and I feel like Booker is really good as far as future potential goes.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
And regardless, though, I would say looks-wise of this card, I personally like a lot better. This looks a lot like the most recent year.
Yeah, true.
Of Prism, which I like.
Yeah.
It looks a little bit more, or kind of back to their original design in 2012. So
yeah, it's definitely more similar to the first
from
year.
a design perspective.
Yeah, so let's say A tier for this one. Not S tier, but A tier. All right, almost. All right, here we go. 2016. We have the rookie class of Brandon Ingram and Ben Simmons, and I think Jaylen Brown as well. It's definitely the most different looking year of Prism. The rookie class, I think, is kind of not that great. I don't. Brandon Ingram's pretty good. Ben Simmons is pretty good, but I don't think they're like as good as some of the other names we've listed. What do you think?
Yeah. This one, I'd say, like you were saying, doesn't really look like a Prism card to me, other than the Prism logo, I guess. But it doesn't really have the same like metallic outer edges that some of the other Prism cards do. So I feel like if it's your brand, you got to stay true to it. So I like the ones that I can tell it's a Prism card. So this one falls a little bit short of that for me. And then to pair that with a mediocre rookie class, I wouldn't put this one very high.
We're gonna go D tier on this one, just because of the bad rookie class. It's like my least favorite of the designs. But yeah, let us resume to 2017, which is honestly one of my favorites. Here we go, guys. Here we go. Thank you for sticking with us despite these technical difficulties. 2017, we have a rookie class of Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, Lonzo Ball, De'Aaron Fox. I mean, those last two are not as big, but Tatum and Mitchell are really good, or I think they're really good, and they have a lot of potential. And I would put them pretty high as far as rookie classes are concerned. I like the design of this as well. So I'm thinking this goes up pretty high. What do you think of the design and rookie class of, 2017 Prism?
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you there. This one's kind of got like the classic Prism design to me, very similar to one that we already have in the A tier. But I really like this rookie class. I think that Tatum and Mitchell, and even the other guys that you mentioned, De'Aaron Fox and Lonzo Ball, and some of the other people in that draft class are going to be around for years to come. So I feel like it's a pretty strong rookie class. I put this one up there. It's obviously I wouldn't make it an S tier or anything like that.
I'm thinking A tier, kind of just like not as good as like the original, but still pretty good. All right. Almost getting to present times. 2018, we're seeing some big names here. 2018, the rookie class is Luka Doncic and Trae Young, and this is kind of the year that cards became really popular, along with the year to follow. But Luka prices went insane. As far as design of this one, I feel like it's pretty plain, but just how iconic the Luka Prism is, I think that makes it a little bit higher than some of the other ones. What do you think? 2018.
Yeah, I would say from a design standpoint, I put this one probably one tier below the last one that we were just looking at.
Okay.
Draft class wise, I think it deserves respect just for the hype that this particular Luka Prism PSA 10 got.
Yeah.
And how many eyes that particular card drew to the hobby makes that kind of like legendary in a way, like something that will be memorable for the hobby. So I think that boosts it up. So yeah.
Guys, just to let you know, ask some questions. We'll do a little Q&A at the end of this stream. After this segment, we'll just do the Q&As. So if you have any questions, just let us know in the comments below as we get into the last 2 years of Prism. We've got 2019, which was Zion, Ja Morant, and this is what the card looks like. It's also LeBron's first Laker Prism, which to a lot of people is a big deal. Um, but I actually really like Zion and John Morant. I think that rookie class is pretty good. I think like the Luka one we just talked about, it kind of just it represents the card hobby like exploding as a whole, and for that reason, I think it ranks. I would say right next to the Luka year. What do you think?
Yeah, this one I'd put pretty high as well. Like the design looks pretty sick. This one might be one of my favorite
Yeah,
designs, other than I mean up there close to the original, just as far as the look of the card goes.
yeah,
And, I think Zion is equally there with Luca as far as driving people to the hobby, and then having John Morant in this class as well has been awesome. So this one's I would rank super highly.
okay, we're gonna go. I'm putting it right. I'll put it A tier, right above the Luca year. Um, okay, and we are on to the final one, the present time, which is gonna be the 2020-21. Let me see if I can find the picture here. Yeah, the 2020-21 um, Prism, which just came out, which is why we're doing this segment to kind of just talk a little bit about Prism in general because a lot of people are talking about it. It's pretty hyped up right now. And this picture, this one in particular, sorry, I'm just moving it up a bit. Okay, this picture in particular, this is like the sickest LeBron Prism card, I feel like, because it's horizontal, unlike the previous years. But I feel like the rookie class, it's too early to kind of rank them highly compared to some of these other ones. But design wise, I think it's kind of like upper middle of the road. But again, like I can't put it too highly because we don't really know how good these rookies are going to be. What do you think of this rookie class and the card in general?
So first of all, with the design, I love this design. I feel like this is also one of my favorites. Maybe my favorite as far as design goes overall. However, on the rookie class front, I feel like this is not going to end up being a good rookie class. We'll
Yeah,
see. It's too early to say that boldly, but I feel like LaMelo is one of those guys that will be in the top echelon of superstars potentially. But other than that, I'm skeptical about all the other rookies in the rookie class to really if they're going to elevate to huge heights
yeah,
where years from now we're going to be looking back at them. I think thinking it's going to be a weak draft class, but time
yeah.
will tell. So I'm skeptical on how that will all play out for all those rookies, but the
Yeah.
card design is sick.
Don't sleep on Pokashevsky. I feel like people are really hyping him up right now. I see him all over Twitter and stuff like that. But obviously not. Just kind of like a meme, I guess. But
No, I mean, I feel like these rookies there's some potential, but I just don't see, a perennial all-star other than LaMelo
other
so
than
far.
Lamelo, yeah,
And the injuries have really just muddied this draft class.
yeah.
So,
And for that reason, we'll put it at B tier. We'll put it at B tier, even though it's a good design. We just don't know about the rookie class.
there's room to improve, but we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah. That LeBron card is sick, though.
Yeah, facts.
We gotta get one of those.
All right, so that concludes the little tier list segment. Again, apologies for the little technical difficulties on that. Alex, is there anything you want to talk about before we get into like just asking or looking at questions? I don't know if we have any, but we'll wait a little bit. Is there anything you want to kind of just get into? Have to say.
No.
No? All right, so let's see if we have any questions. A while ago or Mr. Optimistic said, which would you guys prefer to buy? Hobby box of NBA Absolute or Revolutions? Revolutions, because I think it's cheaper and I think it kind of looks cooler. But yeah, guys, if you have any questions, let us know. What were you saying?
Absolute is the one that is mostly about the memorabilia.
Yeah, that's like the memorabilia ones.
Yeah,
For the
I would
most
agree
part.
with you. I like the Revolutions, like the look of their regular cards.
Yeah.
So even if you don't get a huge hit with the Revolution box, you got some sick cards to look at.
Yeah. Are there any questions? Are there any questions before we sign off? As far as like future segments, next time we'll do this one where I just give Alex some random players and just kind of get his thoughts on them, so we can just kind of have some like candid reactions to like certain players. But yeah, I think that's it honestly. We don't have any questions right now. Um, but yeah,
I did just see, as we were talking about Luka Doncic, I saw that he just hit like a game-winning buzzer beater
tonight.
in the last couple of minutes. So
Damn.
if anyone has any updates on that, I'd be curious. But I
Okay.
just got the notification
Yeah.
right when we were talking about him too.
Oh yeah, I got one too. Okay. All right. Here we go. We got some questions here. From Janine said, since most places only let you buy one pack, how do you know which is best to buy, a baseball or basketball pack? Well, right now, the baseball ones aren't as highly valued, just because they're a little bit easier to find because the basketball ones go really fast. So probably the basketball ones, and if you see football as well, those are really popular.
Shout out to Janine, by the way. But yeah, if you see basketball cards, buy them. Pretty much doesn't matter what brands, etc.
Yeah.
With baseball and football, you got to be a little bit more careful about what particular brand. So with football, maybe you leave behind the playbook and the contender, but pick some of the other stuff. And for tops, maybe you pick up the Chrome or the Series 1, but leave behind the opening day and the Heritage.
Next up, we got a question from Nicholas. Said, what are the most prized cards you have in your collection? Sheesh. For me, that I have here, I would say is like maybe my Ja Morant Prism, or I have a Stephen Curry Upper Deck rookie card from 2009 that I just found in the old vaults. How about you? What do you have? What's the most prized card that you have over there, would you say?
So I would probably say that I think the coolest card that we have, or one of the coolest cards, is the Russell Westbrook rookie card that we have as well. The Upper Deck first edition Russell Westbrook rookie card, ungraded. It's not worth much at this point in time, but we'll see once he takes off. Just kidding, kind of.
Yeah. Hasn't he been playing well recently, or?
What's that?
Hasn't he been like putting up numbers recently, or am I tripping?
Yeah, he's been doing really well, which is not, but they're still like losing most games. I think their team is just horrible. But another really cool cop that we have is the Juan Soto rookie debut PSA 10 that we picked up at a card show, and since I picked that up, I've been really getting into watching Juan Soto play, and he's a beast. I feel like he's one of the best hitters that I've watched play, and watching the Dodgers, they have a lot of good hitters, so I'm used to watching good players, but something about him, the way he sees the ball at the plate, he's something special. So I'm really excited about our Juan Soto card, and it's a nice it's a nice horizontal card as well. I'm a big fan of, like, if it's going to be a card that you're collecting, the horizontal stuff I just feel like looks way nicer. So here's kind of what that card looks like.
Let's go. Yeah. In the chat, what's your guys' most prized card in your collection? Let us know. But yeah, that's it for the questions. Should we sign up?
Things that we've opened recently in Wax was a 2021 Top Series 1 photo variation for Christian Passion. And it looks like a nicely printed card. If we were to send it graded, I feel like it would do pretty well. But that's been one of our most coveted cards that we've opened.
Yeah. Aside from cards, I really like like just the boxes and stuff like that. I like holding on to like some sealed boxes. I think like I just like looking at them, like kind of like cards, but just the sealed boxes are pretty sick too. I have some Hoops Premium, some Donruss, and yeah. So it's kind of like a little collection from like card hunting journeys.
Yeah. I feel like from an investment perspective, the boxes and the wax is technically the safest investment because you're not exposing yourself to the risk of opening it up and not having any hits inside of it. So you leave that risk to somebody else.
Yeah. As far as things that we have coming up, I do have some Prism coming soon, some blaster boxes. So maybe I'll do an opening of that for the channel or like one of the boxes. I have some more Donruss basketball on the way. I have some Kobe rookies. That would be my favorite that I have. Dang, Kobe rookies. That's fire. I love how there's like tons of dope Kobe rookies that I've seen just like from different brands. Like back then, it wasn't just Panini. Obviously, it was like there's Topps Kobe rookies, there's Fleer Kobe rookies, and I think that's pretty cool, honestly. But yeah, that was this episode of the Pop Report. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Alex, do you have anything you want to say to the people before we sign off?
Nope. Thanks for joining us. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to Drew Sports and Cards. Looking forward to adding some more openings in the future. We've been having a lot of success at our targets recently for getting some of the new cards. So I'm hoping this Friday to get in line early on a Friday morning and get my first my hands on some
Prism
for the first time. But that's going to be tough. I think I'm going to have to get there at like 5 in the morning or something along those lines.
Are you going to do it?
Willing to do that. We'll see. For those of you that haven't really been keeping up with the target systems, they're now releasing, at least on most targets, on Friday mornings when they open. And the target near me opens at 7. I got there last week at 6 to get in line early. Got some Donruss basketball, but wasn't able to get any Panini Prism basketball. So I'm hoping maybe this week if I go a half hour earlier or so.
Yeah.
I'll be.
You saw it though, huh?
I saw it. I feel like I was only a couple people away, so might just have to go a little bit earlier. But I have a bad feeling that I'm not the only one having this same thought process right now.
Facts. Especially since it was way more than like the first time that you went. Unfortunately, since we didn't get 15 viewers at once in today's stream, we'll still have the Donruss giveaway for the next stream next week. So that'll be another chance to give away that. We appreciate.
I say we add another giveaway to it so that if we get in 15 viewers in our next video, we'll give away Donruss and something else.
What do you think? What should we give away?
We'll see. We'll think about that. But
all right.
Donruss, maybe add in some hoops.
Okay.
See what if we're able to score any Prism.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Let us know in the comments what you guys want us to give away next.
Do you want Topps Heritage?
Topps Heritage? Literally opening day? Nah, just like whatever. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining the stream, and peace out. Oh, technical difficulties, bro.
Up them poles on them, birdie.
Thank you guys for watching. I just turned it back on.
Dirty dancing.
Up them poles on them,